You're listening to Inside iOS Dev, episode number 8, WWDC Platform State of the Union Recap.
You're listening to Inside iOS Dev, show about real-world iOS development. Today with you, your hosts Alex Bush
And Andrew Rohn. And in today's episode, we're talking about Apple's WWDC 2017 Platforms State of the Union. This is the big time for us iOS devs. This is all the info that we want to know. Basically today, we recommend you watch the video. The entire talk is about an hour and 45 minutes long. It's all the goodies that they're going to give us as developers. So we recommend you watch it. But today we're just going to do a quick recap for you of the video, and hope you get something good from it. To start off, this is a really big one, and I would say this is one of the better WWDC platform State of the Unions for developers, because we got awesome improvements to Xcode 9 and the source editor, and Alex is going to go ahead and talk about that right now a little bit.
The one of the biggest changes is source editor. It was completely rewritten in Swift. It now supports Markdown as well. One of the additions, the issues, the tooltip for issues is not messing with your layout of your code anymore. So you can now see your code even when the issues are there.
Yes, small little improvement. It's nice to have.
There are apparently more than 300 of them. New diagnostic analysis and fixits, how they call them there, to help you.
It's great.
Another change is faster editor. So essentially this rewrite got us 3 times faster file opens, 60 frames per second scrolling in large files, even up to 10,000 lines.
Yeah, they had a 10,000 line file in the presentation, and it's buttery smooth scrolling through it.
Not that you should build 10,000 lines.
Don't let this encourage you to make a 10,000 line file.
But you can.
But if you want to, if you do, you'll be able to scroll through it at 60 frames per second.
And also it gives us 50 times faster jump to line in files.
Yeah, I like this one, especially the faster file open. It's awesome. 3 times faster. I think right now sometimes if it's the Command-Shift-O command when you want to immediately jump to a file, and sometimes there's a 1 second stutter of waiting before it can populate the field of suggesting the file or going to the file directly. And now it's going to be pretty much almost instant, which is great. I think that's nice.
Right. Another huge addition is code structure highlights or highlighting.
Yep.
Essentially, that's when you pull down command button and then hover over pieces pieces of code and structures in the code, such as variables or if-else statements or for loops,
arrays, classes,
dictionary structures and so on.
Yeah,
it's gonna highlight it, the whole thing, and visually kind of guiding you and showing where it starts and ends.
Yeah, so you're not doing the thing of being where does this curly brace line up with this one? You just
right.
Command hold, and it'll have this visual highlight of that block. It's nice. Right. Whatever structure over, if it's an array, it'll have a visual highlight of the items in that array or whatever. It's nice.
And on top of that feature that lets you select those structures in code also will allow you to do symbolic transformations, how they call them, things like renaming your variable, for example, in scope, or maybe even extracting a method from that piece of code, or refactoring if-elses into switch statements, or vice versa. And another huge addition kind of from that is refactoring. We finally got it. We have refactoring for Swift.
Yay!
It's if you think about it, it's kind of funny that it's exciting for us, but it is exciting because we didn't have it. Like it was not available for us in Xcode to refactor Swift code, only Objective-C. And essentially, yeah, no new refactoring system for Swift. It supports Swift, Objective-C, C, and C++. So essentially all the core languages in Xcode.
Oh, thank God. Yeah. This is huge.
That's great. And another big deal, in my opinion, it's very very important. We have if you hit Command and plus, it's gonna increase your font size of your code right there in the editor.
Yeah, this was amusing because like before this got like I think the biggest applause out of everything that we've had so far. The fact that you can make the font larger or smaller with Command plus or Command minus. But it's nice to have now. It's great.
Yeah. Another addition is Fix-It. I guess that's how they call them. Fix-It tools are more sophisticated.
Yeah, the Fix-Its are just like those little tooltip, little like pop-ups or whatever, right? That like, just show up and they say like, "Hey, here's a suggestion of what you should fix,"
like warnings or errors and so on. And essentially, they, for example, one of the things that you could do with them. Auto add all the unimplemented methods of a protocol that you just adopted.
Super convenient.
Yeah, because like typically you have to hunt down for those, right? And
so if you have like the 5 methods that you need to implement for that protocol, just populates them for you. They're empty, of course, but now they're in there, and you just need to fill them in. It's great.
Pretty nice. Method extraction and in-scope renaming. So like you could do that too with those Fix-Its. Renaming one big thing for me personally, like it's visually very nice when you use one of the renaming one of the refactoring tools for that. It will show how did you call them?
It's basically like a preview pane. So basically, what let's say you have a class and it's used throughout your project in many places. If you do a rename of that class, this preview pane will pop up, and anywhere that change for the class name is being applied, it'll show you in that preview pane, so you could see what it's going to look like before you apply that change. This is awesome. It's something XCode had before, and now Xcode has it. So it looks like I might be using XCode a lot less now.
Yeah.
I love this about XCode, this feature, and now Xcode has it. It's great. Next up, in terms of new goodies, is improvements in Swift, in particular Swift 4 being released. What do we got specifically, Alex?
Specifically, one of the things improved was strings. Three major improvements there. Easier to use. They now act like a collection. So essentially, APIs the same way as the old way, right? Without this dot characters array there. So that's way easier to use. More Unicode is...
So now if I want to access the string like array access, like an index, I'll get a character at that index.
Right. Essentially, yeah. You can just get specific character exactly at index.
I don't have to
using this subscript syntax for that.
Yeah, and I don't have to be like my strings dot characters and to get that collection of characters.
No, it's straightforward now.
Yay. Much better abstraction. Thank you.
It should be like that, right? Another improvement is Unicode. Sometimes the way, I guess, because of the underlying implementation of Unicode in Swift, the count of characters was not straightforward.
Yeah, it was a little weird. The example they gave was the 4 flags. So you'd have like the flag emojis, like, for the different countries, like, Japan, America, whatever, the 4 different countries. And then you would do a dot count on it, and then the string would return 1.
Or 0, or
just like not something.
Not
so,
what you would expect.
Yeah, like what you see as like human readable is you see 4 basically, symbols, and that's what you'd expect as the count. And because the level of abstraction that we're at is just humans reading this string, you see it as 4 different symbols. But I guess the underlying Unicode is that the count would be it would return 1 for whatever reason. But now it returns 4, which I think is an improvement in terms of the abstraction for optimizing for developer productivity and just kind of sensibility in terms of human readability, which is nice.
Right, now makes sense.
Yes.
And another big improvement with strings is they're faster, up to 3.5 times faster with certain languages.
Yeah, the string processing is going to be a lot faster. It's nice.
Right. They also added multi-line literals so that you can define a string variable with multiple lines.
So yeah, what that is basically is normally you know how you do the string in just the quotation marks. So if you precede the string with 3 quotation marks and then put basically write the string in there and you make a new line, for example, you don't have to put a new line character like the \n. It will just detect that a new line is there, and the basically the string will display exactly how it looks in your editor. So visually, it's gonna look nice.
Yeah, great for like paragraphs of text that you want to set.
Yeah, precisely.
Or like poetry. I
Yeah,
like poetry.
Yeah, or poetry, and it detects white space for that, so that's nice.
Another big change, or addition rather, is a codable protocol. Essentially, that thing is for conversion of objects into JSON. Effectively, the way it works, think an XCode protocol, and you would have your objects implemented if you want to serialize them into like an user defaults. But that's a kind of rudimentary thing, and this one was made specifically to serialize your objects into JSON.
Or JSON, or I think they also said like plist, but just basically serializing your objects.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way it works, it's we feel like it's going to be a great replacement for libraries like Mantle and similar that map your objects into JSON or vice versa, or decode from JSON. And yeah, looks pretty nice.
This is awesome. I'm looking forward to trying it out and see how it works.
Another addition or another big thing is adoption. They promised that adoption of Swift 4 and 3.2 will be easier than transition from like 2.3 to 3.
Right.
And they have this, I guess, feature in a way where you could mix and match Swift 3.2 and 4.
Yeah, 3.2 code and Swift 4.0 code could exist in the same project, which is nice because then you can also use any third-party libraries or something that are written, let's say, in 3.2. You can have like that mix and match code. It's just nice.
Right, and essentially Swift 3.2 is going to have all the new features of Swift 4 available, but no improvements to existing stuff.
Okay, next big section they introduced was the improvements in core technologies. What did they have to say about that, Alex?
So essentially, it's kind of, I guess, mix of things for APIs, for Xcode itself, and so on. We'll just go over them. And the first one was indexers. So essentially, they are faster now, more reliable, and like opening and searching for things is faster.
Yay.
Another change is a new build system. Essentially, that's a big deal for me personally. They claim 2.5 times faster incremental builds. So essentially, when you change like only small portion of your code, that would be an incremental build, and that's going to be faster now, more than 2 times. And that feature you can opt in for preview.
The new build system. It's opt-in for Xcode 9. For this new build system, it's opt-in now, but they plan on, of course, later making it default. Yeah.
Another big addition is source control. We already had source control in Xcode, like I think Git integration.
Yeah, it was already in there, but now we're just really the big thing is that it's just more very tightly integrated with GitHub now.
Yeah, which is amazing. We all love GitHub.
Yeah, so you have a lot of the nice features. You have this new source control navigator, so it's nice. It's in there, and you can use it.
And GitHub even has a new button like clone and Xcode on their pages now.
Oh, and GitHub.com.
Yeah,
Nice.
pretty awesome. Another change and additions, debugging and analytics. Essentially, in the view hierarchy or hierarchy of views.
Yeah, when you do the debugger for like the views hierarchy,
Right.
you
So
can see the view controllers now.
right, in addition to actual view objects.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, but then again, something that Reveal, for example, already had.
Yep. Sprite Kit and Scene Kit are also now. You can now inspect the view elements in there as well, so that's another nice addition.
Right. Easier debugging for game developers. Another addition is runtime sanitizers, and specifically thread analysis. Essentially, it's those tools, instruments tools. Essentially, we kind of had them already, but they're improved now, and they will help you analyze. For example, like if you're executing any UI code, UI kit code not on the main thread.
Yeah, so this is a nice one. The thread analysis one I really like, and this is going to be defaulted in Xcode 9, I think, right?
Right.
It'll be defaulted in. But yeah, any UI kit calls made not on the main thread, which, as we all know, you're not supposed to do, that will be called out, and you will need to fix that, basically. So that's nice to have that in there.
Right. Another change is Xcode server is now built into Mac OS and, well, Xcode, right? So you kind of don't have to have it now. All of those features are built in. And another thing is they improved testing, and specifically UI testing. You can test multiple applications with your UI tests.
It's nice. Like, yeah, so if your app, I don't know, something in your app, you want to you're in your app and you want to go to the settings page and change a setting and then come back and see how your app changed. Well, you can do that now because you can go outside of just your app now. So that's cool. You can test that.
Another change, just they improved the speed and performance of UI tests and like querying mechanics and so on. Another change, Xcode build test can run in parallel now for multiple targets, which makes your integration tests, for example, on your continuous integration system faster. And another change that Andrew's specifically excited about for simulators.
Yeah, simulators, I have on my notes here. Simulator in general made more awesome.
Right.
So you can open multiple simulator windows. The simulator now looks like the actual device, and on that device you can see the hardware controls and actually interact with them. So pressing the volume button will change the volume, and pressing the home button will take you home. And the screens are resizable to any size. So yeah, it's great. It's nice. I like it. It looks good.
And there is one more thing in regards of like
oh yes, I love this one.
And like launching your app on your device.
Yeah.
So now you can cut the cord, guys.
Yeah, you can now do wireless development, so you don't have to have your device plugged in via the USB cable. You could just wirelessly do your development. It's great. Okay, next big section, new APIs in iOS 11. What do we got there, Alex?
We got drag and drop.
Woo!
Pretty powerful way they kind of implemented that. Essentially, now you can drag. There are protocols to implement for your data in your apps, but what the users can do now is drag those things inside of your application, and they can even drag them outside of your app. And while they do that, let's say like with one finger, the rest of not just your app, but the system is fully responsible, and they can use another hand or finger to do other things, such as switch the app, or maybe even select another item to drag along with it. So it's pretty amazing, actually.
More powerful multi-touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can like drag something from your app into another app, and then the other app would be able to do something with the content you drop. Potentially, if it, I guess you'd have to conform to some protocol or whatever, and be able to receive those items. But that's cool. It's powerful.
Yep, and it is secure. The other app gets the data only when the user finalizes the drag and lets go.
This is another change. It was a more of a UI change. So there's now this new larger navigation bar text. I think with the simple property, you just set it and that will start being implemented. You also have this integrated search bar in there. And again, I believe that is just with the property where you could just turn on that integrated search bar. So that's cool. That's new.
Also, we now have automatically sized dynamic cells for like dynamic font size that you can change in your system settings.
Yeah, so basically in the system settings for Apple, you know how you can go in there and change the font size system-wide. Well, now cells got smarter in terms of I guess auto layout of being smarter, of being able to automatically change cell size for that change in font size. So it's better supported, which is cool. You'll get that in your app.
Right. Another addition is a new file management. Essentially, there is a new document browser.
Yep.
And there is an app where you can browse your files.
Yep.
And also for us developers in our apps, we can use, I believe it's an S file coordinator and a few other classes. The way they work, we can let our users like present a picker for files, and essentially kind of works in a way kind of like
like the image picker, but for files.
But for files, exactly.
That's cool.
Another big addition is multitasking features, or rather, I guess, improvements, additions. It's specifically for iPad. It's great because you have real estate to run multiple applications simultaneously on your screen. And if you were already kind of complying with Apple's requirements and using
size
classes, auto layout, and storyboards, it's kind of you're done. You know, everything's gonna be working out of the box. Other addition is a password autofill. So essentially, you could in your app you could use a field where passwords will be autofilled through Keychain from iCloud.
Yeah. Nice little addition there.
Yep, should improve conversions hypothetically. Another changes are in iMessages. Essentially, now you can render live content in the message bubbles, and they provide APIs for that.
That's fun. Yeah, other little niceties for iMessage updates. So that's cool. SiriKit, new domains.
Yeah, four of them.
Yeah, payment accounts, lists, notes, and QR codes.
Essentially, yeah, more power to Siri. Apple Music playback in your apps. So essentially now there is a set of classes for that, and let's say fitness apps can have Apple Music playback, right? They don't have to implement a lot of stuff they had to previously, and can just roughly speaking drag and drop it in plug and play it in their app, and it's going to be working. Another addition. iOS camera app and just camera in general detects QR codes.
Yep.
And deep links them through using universal links into your app. So if your app already supports it, then you can take advantage of that.
Cool.
Another big change is
you have these new photo and video formats.
Right, and compressions.
Yeah.
Essentially, they introduced one file format and another image container.
Yeah, so the HEVC file format with 2 times better compression and improved performance, and the HEIF image container. One cool thing is your apps can now play with the depth effects of images and videos.
Right, it's going to be great for all those apps that, do effects on videos and images, Instagrams of the world.
Yep.
Another change, Vision APIs.
The Vision APIs, this is really awesome. This is going to be made available to you in your app. You got face and landmark detection, text detection, barcode detection, object tracking. This is awesome. This is artificial intelligence that you can now use in your app. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's integrated with Core ML, Core Machine Learning framework, and that's another addition to iOS 11 APIs is Core ML. Effectively, that is actually pretty incredible. Effectively, Apple now supports machine learning client side, and you can use pre-existing models that were trained and in your apps, and Core ML is foundation for many other APIs and frameworks in the system, such as Vision API
And natural language processing as well.
Also, there were a lot of additions and changes in Metal and graphics. Now it's now a new framework called Metal 2. That framework is essentially a foundation, a GPU graphics foundation for a lot of other frameworks that we use day to day, such as UIKit and many AV Foundation and many others. And there were lots of changes there. There was they introduced VR development, and we probably will talk about that in future episodes.
Yeah, at the end here, these topics like Core ML, Metal, VR, or I guess, and VR support, and then there's also they were showing AR. There were these topics I think are pretty deep, and I know we kind of went over them here fast. So in the future, we plan on going them in more in depth. But again, this is just an overview. So I think that was it for today. That was a quick overview of the platform's State of the Union. I suggest you watch the whole video, but this might be a nice primer before the video. Or if you don't have time to watch the video, at least you have this to listen to.
Yep. We are pretty excited. This is one of the WWDCs, I think the first one after some time for me personally that I am excited about.
Yeah, this is a great, a lot of great new tools for devs. So yeah, have fun with all these new things, guys. I look forward to playing with them. And yeah, guys, I know it's been a while. We missed last week. Sorry about that. We've just been very busy. And the reason for that is we got an upcoming episode explaining why. And it's a really good episode, some great content. Just a little bit of a hint. It will, I think, and I hope, help you with your next job search. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Just
little teaser.
Little
there.
teaser. We got some great content. Tune in either next week or the week after. We will be releasing that and explaining why we were missing for last week. Right. Thanks for listening today, guys.
Stay tuned.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.